best opportunities that paiN Gaming is going to have if they want to try and step out of the bottom 2 spots here in Latin America. They absolutely need to be able to either get a win or at minimum 1 point.
Yeah, that draw against Inst, I think, was the real punch in the gut that we had for paiN. Like that's the match they really should have been winning. Look at a ban Thermite to start things off. Black Dragons really contemplating their response here. So 1 hard destructor already gone, so it's not going to be a double hard destructor ban here on Bank. Good. It's going to be Glaz instead. That will change up the way that lots of the basement attack. Actually, honestly, it'll change up the entire way that you would attack on this site. Glaz is a very powerful tool on this map, rather. You can use him in the basement to attack from server. You can use him to push in through tellers, whether from the main lobby or from box. You can attack from pretty much anywhere on any of these sites, and he plays those long angles to perfection. Kaid, rather, is going to be eliminated, so that's going to make attacking the basement a whole lot easier. And who do we have for the last defensive ban? Looks like it's going to be an Echo. Nothing too shocking. Actually, surprising how little Echo bans we've been having. By how few, I mean, we saw 1 match so far today of the 3 that Echo was not banned.
Well, he is the most banned operator, right? The region really does not like playing him.
Yeah.
We saw how crucial he can be when used correctly.
Mm-hmm. We do have 2 hard destructors still in play here, Hibana and Maverick. As discussed, I think that honestly these are the 2 best hard destructors to have available for you or to you on Bank as an attacker. So the Thermite ban, curious. I do think the Thermite ban is going to affect the top floor a whole lot. Having Hibana instead of Thermite is useful, yes, but not as potent when opening those CEO walls, if that is your strategy. It's a similar story, I suppose, when it comes to the Teller's Archives defense, but we've seen whole Bank matches with no Teller's defense at all. So that might not actually affect anything at all. The Thermite ban is definitely interesting. I do think that the Hibana ban might have been a much more influential one, but usually if that happens, you just see, again, it's going to be Maverick and Thermite in that case. So it is not, the adjustment is slight.
Yeah, I do want to say that it's very interesting that we're going to have a Thermite and not a Hibana ban here.
Yeah.
That just alone kind of blows my mind, because it's been said by many different teams that, you know, leaving every single hard breacher available on a Bank defense is very difficult because there are just so many different ways, whether they be hatches, whether they be walls, etc., that you're able to take advantage of that. Now, with a Thermite ban, it might not be as much of a factor when you're looking at the basement hold, but banning out Thermite is going to be huge if we see either of these teams be very aggressive in defending CEO above. And that might be exactly why. We could be looking at repeated CEO and Teller's Archives defenses here where they just don't want to have to deal with the hard destruction that comes from a Thermite charge on either of those CEO panels. That's really it.
I mean, that was my theory too, but it's not what we're seeing from paiN right off the bat. They're going to be going to the basement first. And I mean, yeah, basement is the site on Bank, but it's just a curious decision-making process from paiN on the way that they've decided to handle the bans. Not going to be going for any roams, it seems, or actually, correction, maybe 1 roamer upstairs trying his best to hold on. Looks like it might be FK, but I can't be certain. Of course, we'll find out as the round transpires. Looks like by Archives, it's going to be the 1 defensive operator. No, it's GCR, and he was in fact at the top of server stairs. He'll be falling back as he starts getting pressured by Hugzord. That's probably the right call in that situation. Doesn't need to do anything there. Just going to be trying to contest the top of stairs.
I was going to say there's a client-sided punch hole on that barricade that for us still shows the piece of wood being up there, but could be more revealing for somebody else. Keep in mind that on barricades and destruction like that, it's client-sided, so it can differ, actually, and can give an advantage to certain teams, depending on the way that they see that. Just one of the ways that the destruction mechanics in this game works. So there you have it. Looking and just simply checking for the Valkyrie camera, there's Hugzord. As Black Dragons have walked into the CCTV area. They are currently in the servers looking towards the CCTV site with Moringa above on hard destruction, a role that he is very familiar with. Not opening that entire hatch up means that he's going to be able to just look down. Those angles created will be a vantage point that he can sit on and just simply look and possibly catch a rotation off of. Keep in mind that if you are an attacker and you are taking out those hatches with your blowtorch, it can be done deliberately just to poke a couple holes and prevent paiN from being able to rotate. GDN starts to get the diffuser down, but there's a toxic canister that will meet him from Gabrielos, and GDN falls off very wisely. All this information on the push will come from the very typical spot that a Pulse is playing in, sitting inside a vault, or a lot of people will call it gold. There goes out a C4. It won't catch anybody at all. A bit early to pull that one for spawns, as you'll see some disruption caused from PZD on above. GDN going for the defuse plant.
Oh, no.
Time ticking away. Hugzor takes out Gabrielos, and GDN will get away scot-free. Black Dragons will get the very first diffuser down in round number 1, and GDN will just continue to cycle on back. Good hatch control from above, as it's just all Black Dragons all the way down. Hugzor picks up yet another with PZD there to take out GCR. Information coming out that could possibly aid the 2 remaining members of paiN, but they are sequestered for the time being and in really bad shape. Aware that the hatch above them has been picked apart, there's been a hesitancy on Revolts to be able to push on up. It's just simply waiting and watching, as Black Dragons is very well equipped to greet anything that comes from the remaining members of the defense. FK1 hopeless as he peeks on in. Panico is there, and Revolts won't make it out of lockers at all. Tries to punch out, but Moringa says no thank you. Black Dragons, after a very successful plant, take quite a while to be able to push on in, but they make it look very routine, and they'll take round number 1.
Jeez. I mean, strategically, paiN Gaming won that round. You take a step backwards and you look at the way that it was being played, paiN Gaming should have had that. A few major mistakes that that caused them to throw away that round. First of all, the smoke, doubling up on his gas canisters, throwing them really ineffectively, despite the fact that he has full information from the Pulse. He knows exactly when he needs to throw the gas canisters. On top of that, the smoke is doing other people's jobs. He's trying to push up to the door to site. I'm not sure what his plan was there. He blew all of his gas canisters too early, he rotated into a bad position, and he was ineffective in that round. Following that, I mean, we saw a really poorly timed C4 from the Valkyrie, and this is, again, despite the fact that there is full information from the Pulse. And the cherry on top, the coup de grace for paiN shooting themselves in the foot, the last C4 from the Pulse doesn't even make it past the frickin' site desk. paiN had that round, man. They had that round. Black Dragons did very little to isolate the C4 coming from Vault. In fact, I don't think they really did anything. The most that they did was go for a deeper plant instead of default. They went to try and plant behind the bomb. Very confusing round for paiN. Lots of mistakes being made. Black Dragons had no real counter to the counter plant that paiN had in place.
paiN are the team who notoriously defended CCTV 4 times in a row on Bank a couple seasons back, if I recall. And we remarked that the very first time that they defended Bank, this was, I think, it was either last season or 2 seasons ago. I can't remember the exact time frame.
Okay.
But it was back when it used to be 5 rounds to 5 rounds, instead of 6 rounds to 6 rounds.
Right.
The very first defense that they did, I don't think they had a single C4. And then the second round, I think they brought 1 C4. And finally, by I think it was the 3rd or the 4th round, they had 4 C4s on the board. It was like a Pulse, a Valkyrie, a Mira, and a Kapkan. All had C4s. And they just continuously put, or it might have been a Mute, continuously chucking them on in. And finally, after 4 rounds, they won CCTV.
I remember that day.
And we were very astonished that they didn't go anywhere else. And keep in mind that paiN Gaming are the team that banned out Thermite, so they are anticipating winning this defense downstairs and then going to another site where Thermite will likely be off the board and help them. Speaking of C4s, GCR's very first will connect onto Hugzord, who was able to get 2 very instrumental kills in the previous round, and of course, with a Thatcher going off too, there's no EMPs that are available for the attackers. So you better have hoped that any gadget destruction that would come from a Thatcher has already been done, because it's not going to be available for you at this point.
Here we go. 2 drops opened up by Moringa. Great job there to get both of them by open area and small office. Black Dragons are down a man, but they've got a decent amount of control here. They've also got a Ying still in play, and there is no Jaeger. So the Thatcher being gone, while very useful for other pieces of utility, it's not going to hinder the Ying in the slightest.
And as long as this pulse can continue to exist, it's going to give a massive advantage to the defenders. Now, for those that are unaware of what Pulse does in that position, he's got the cardiac sensor. He will largely be nothing other than a drone. He's likely not going to engage in any confrontations unless you need him to peek his head out and throw out a C4 onto somebody possibly going for a plant. But without Hugzord on the board, it's going to require a bit of a change from what Black Dragons is able to do. GCR gets down and there's just no presence as Moringa now pushes on in, so it's a 4v4 and a bit of a missed opportunity from Panico. 2 big kills from the Pulse, traded off by Moringa, but GCR is there, a 1v4 as GDN gets the plant down, but it's only him left. It's going to be harrowing to be able to just watch that diffuser, which he might not have actually gotten in a position where he can watch it. No ACOG on the Hibana means that he might have to take a bit of a closer angle here. GCR and Revolt's very low on HP, Gabrilos is gone, but you still have the cardiac sensor, possibly inside of gold to give you the information you need. Very first kill from GDN, anticipating a push from above. He's right there, but he can't get the mute. Oh, he will! On to GCR, but Spawns gets him from behind, and Revolts will have plenty of time to be able to disable that diffuser and give paiN a round that you said should have been winnable the first time. They will do just that the second. Another site will be on the board for paiN Gaming, but that is a good round for them.
Yeah, good job there to paiN. Making it happen there. Getting the Thatcher early on, not necessarily the biggest pick in terms of utility, although it is a huge pick. Thatcher always useful to counter the defenders in this meta. But the manpower that it lost Black Dragons was pretty substantial. And then following that, Black Dragons, that huge misplay with the Yings Candalis, blinding the support staff that were staying in open area. That's the Maverick, I believe. And then also blinding the players who were dropping down into the site to try and disrupt the defense from paiN. All the while, paiN had retreated off Red Hall and were playing a very passive hold on that site to try and just establish crossfires and pick off players. It was a good setup from paiN, or at least good changes, adaptations to the way that Black Dragons were trying to play it. The Candelas were really the downfall to Black Dragons, though. They ended up, again, shooting themselves in the foot, though it's the other team's time. Now, we'll be moving to CEO for the third round and the second bomb site total.
This tends to be the site that we will see teams go to second opportunity. paiN Gaming will only bring 1 ACOG, and it's something that we always focus on when it comes to this site. Bank has a lot of open lines of sight. That having an ACOG on either attack or defense is a big advantage. With Echo being banned, and Kaid also being banned by Black Dragons, means that there are 2 ACOGs that are off the board that will remain. That will mean that there are only 3 remaining. They'll be in the hands of the Maestro, the Rook, as well as the Dog. In this case, you forego the GIGN operators, and you just go with FK1 on the Maestro. But you usually don't want your Maestro to be that aggressive to engage early because you need those Evil Eyes to be in place.
This is an excellent Valkyrie cam here from Spawns. It's going to give a lot of information not only on the roof, but also the balcony, so that's going to be able to call an attack onto the box skylight, which is a pretty common attack strategy for many teams. Assaulting CEO.
Yeah. Black Dragons bringing a Finka. We've seen a couple teams actually use a Finka on this, well, not just this map, but also this site, because you just want to be able to bull rush right in. Activate her ability. You've also got frag grenades in her hands, too. A lot of people do tend to forget that there are frag grenades available to Finka now that they've been moved off of IQ and handed over to the other yellow icon operator here. So
there's a lot of stack here going on to the site from paiN. It looks like kind of they're tripping over each other. I'm not sure why Valkyrie and Mira are playing the same position. Maybe they want to double up on potential C4s.
Trying to figure out exactly what paiN was trying to accomplish there.
They are going to rotate spawn, so that's done now. They've also opened up the CEO wall, trying to deny... Oh, hey, look, an ACOG on a G36C. Surprise, surprise. You can still play Ash with an ACOG. Anyway, the CEO wall open so they can be aggressive from the meeting hall mirror window and try to challenge anyone who's rotating to the other CEO wall to open it up. There is no Thermite, though, because paiN banned Thermite, so no one's going to go for that rotation. All the hard destruction that would likely go into that CEO wall is going to be, you know, projectile in the Excaros. So I don't know why they did that. Anyway.
No smoke, no echo, no Legion, no Ella. All of the hardest counters to Finka are gone. So this is a perfect choice here to get the most out of your Adrenal Surges. One's already been used, and, well, Moringa on Repel on Ashe, of all operators, not something that he used to play on FaZe, will find GCR and open things up with 40 seconds to go, as lots of surveillance work still going on for the time being. And it will necessitate a couple moves from paiN, as they know that they can't just stay in a similar position. Frag grenade gets tossed in, and it goes off. It doesn't catch anything as GCR is gone, and you hope that the ADSs have been expended as well. This double repel in that will likely happen from Black Dragons on the CEO windows will be particularly problematic if FK1 is there and able to catch both of them off guard. Mowing them down with the Alda. There's one for FK1, but he loses a couple teammates in the process. He's got Diffuser down, and you as Black Dragons need to pick it up. There goes PZD, but FK1 is there yet again. Diffuser gets picked back up, but paiN are all over the board. Hugzord takes out FK1, and they can't get the plant down. Black Dragons, huge mistakes, and paiN Gaming react perfectly. With that Diffuser unable to be planted, paiN will take their second round.
A very confusing setup from paiN, but it managed to work out. And why? Because FK1 was playing a long angle from Banana, and somehow nobody from Black Dragons was in a position to deny him that play. I'm surprised Moringa didn't linger a little bit longer on the main lobby repel. He would have directly countered what ended up being the undoing of Black Dragons, but I'm guessing considering the time was so low, he just wanted to get into the fight. And he came off of that angle, which ended up costing his team quite a lot. Honestly, poor time management from Black Dragons. Again, though, a confusing setup from paiN. Okay, so opening up the CEO wall on the right from, if you're facing in, looking out, or on the south side, I suppose, is a little bit... I mean, the reason you do it is you can deny Thermite opening up the other wall, right? And then you have also, you can challenge anyone entering into the top of box, or skylight as it's often referred to as, through the doorway from the balcony. That's a great challenge, especially from the mirror window or from deep in sight, whatever you're, poison, whatever you're trying to do. It's definitely something you can use to your advantage as a defender. But you ban Thermite, which means you lose a lot of the potency there. And you ban Thermite. One of the major hard destructors that would open up that CEO wall, actually the hard destructor who's most proficient at opening that CEO wall, is gone through your hand. And you didn't reinforce both walls. They made it work, though. FK1, great play from Banana again. They're going to go to Tellers now for their fourth defense.
Hugzord takes a bit of damage there in the ensuing first 10 seconds of the round, as you saw a spawn peek from GCR. Also, one thing I wanted to touch upon with this Thermite ban is that by banning Thermite, you also give a lot of power for Kaid to be able to trick those hatches, because it takes longer for the X-Kairos to detonate the way that a Thermite charge does. So you can put Kaid underneath, throw it up at the hatch, and you basically stop the Hibana. It also works effectively on both of those walls, because on CEO, teams can bandit trick those walls and take out a Thermite exothermic charge if they are particularly good at it. So there's lots of different ways that, banning Kaid as a counter ban from Black Dragons was smart. Basically just a nice bit of intel there from paiN Gaming. They banned the Thermite. Black Dragons took a while on their ban on the Glass, but I think more of that was thinking about what do we do on defense, and then they banned the Kaid. It was a very smart play.
Yeah. An interesting ban phase for sure in this match. Black Dragons trying to take control of top floor. They know they need to do this in order to assault onto Tellers. Absorbed on the north repel. A very dangerous position to play. Missed C4 looks like from below, over by Stock. It's going to allow the Jackal to keep pushing on forward. Actually, rather, looks like PZD is the one in that position on Zofia. He's got a mark through the wall into Meeting Hall, but doesn't choose to try and use it for any advantage. He's got the reinforcement to contest with in that situation. He's coming up on the Meeting Hall entrance, though, and he will get a free kill onto FK1, who is not watching his flank. No Legion being played, and that's a huge factor here. paiN, though, does get Hugzord as, well, GCR was not droned out just inside of reception. He gets refragged by Panico, so there is that, and Black Dragons aren't completely out of it. A little bit more information gathering there, and we would have a 5 versus 3 rather than a 4 versus 3. Still advantage in the favor of Black Dragons, though. And they've got vertical pressure now they can start using.
One thing I will say in particular about this matchup is that for this round in particular, both teams seem to be operating very separate of one another. Moringa, big kill on the Revolt. He's in hot pursuit of yet another, an easy work of Gabrilos. Moringa on these fragging rolls has been adding quite so much to Black Dragons, but he's not going to have very much to go with. The spawns guns him down, and the Valkyrie just waltzes into the site. It's the last member left of paiN Gaming, and Black Dragons look very close to being able to put this one away, and just as I say that, they do indeed put it away. It's Black Dragons responding effectively. It'll open up CCTV back downstairs, so the most defendable site for a lot of these teams will be available for paiN Gaming, and we'll see if they will opt to go down there. I suspect they will. That round in particular, a bit of sloppiness on both sides, but Black Dragons, through the middle of that round, seemingly found their footing. They were able to get the remaining members of paiN Gaming on their radar. They were able to do drone work, and then be able to just push on into the site. And Moringa in particular went largely unseen. Just walks right in, gets an opening kill, and then just continues to move on forward, using a rotate hole that was created by the defenders effectively against them.
I feel like Legion would really help out paiN Gaming right now. I'm just curious. I mean, he's one of the more played operators they usually see in the Latin American region. He's so very useful for certain things like, for example, Moringa pushing in through the flag door. I don't know. There's not a lot of... There's an abundance of information operators being played by paiN, but seemingly a lack of information being gathered by paiN. And it's leaving them exposed to a lot of pretty easy picks. You could say the same thing about Black Dragons, though. I mean, they did let GCR linger in reception on the top floor by Banana, get that pick before finally fragging him out and getting control of the top floor. So it's not a perfect world on either side of the fence here, but definitely some easily corrected mistakes being made. paiN are going to be going back downstairs. They did manage to get this the last time they were here. First time, though, it was a bit of a struggle. Although it did look, I mean, again, strategically, paiN should have won the last, or the very first time that they defended the bottom floor. They're going to be setting up with quite a lot of counter plant utility. In fact, every single operator, save Jaeger, will have counter plant utility. It's likely going to really stall out a server take.
Providing the tempo at which we can see from Black Dragons, they were quite proficient at being able to open up those hatches with the Maverick and Moringa's very capable hands.
This is going to cost him a lot of time, though.
Yeah.
Telling on main lobby. I mean, he's cutting off rotations, great angle. But why Moringa is the question. I guess maybe they're trying to put GDN to open the drop downs now. Like you said, there is no Kaid, so as he's been banned, so just a little bit of a shift of priorities here, possible.
I mean, the Maverick would also cut through the Kaid too, but he would probably take some damage in the time being. Yeah. So.
It's like Hugs are just trying to clear out possibly ADSs or silence the rather heartbeat detector for just a little bit.
That's a lot of times that we actually haven't really been able to get a full grasp of, as we've been a little puzzled by teams when you have a pulse inside of gold who won't be able to call to the rest of their team, and there will be a missed opportunity when a plant goes down. A lot of times there might be an EMP that actually goes off inside of the server that disables that cardiac sensor, as you very pointed out. And there's times when that happens and we just don't have that at our disposal, and we can be very critical of a team. So
yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's worth speculating on.
Yeah, because it's well, I mean, it's hard to tell because you can't always see it.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of things happen off screen.
And you can try to hear it too, right? Especially if you're watching something on a flank watch, then you might not be able to see that this is exactly happening. So into this match in particular, though, we have just over a minute to go. Both teams have begun what is going to become the execute phase. And Moringa is still upstairs. He got one of those drop hatches inside of the small office, just next to open area, and he's going to grab the other one inside of open area too. Both those hatches being open will deprive the defenders of the ability to rotate with the peace of mind that they have some cover above them. Also, with the X-Karos going off on the one CCTV wall, it means that it's time for the hard breach to start the plant. That's going to be in the hands of GDN as one C4 goes off. Doesn't tag, well, it tags PZD, but it doesn't claim a kill. GCR is going to lose some of his own life just on those main stairs. So both teams losing a little bit in the process. Looking for another C4 to possibly go out there. It will, but GDN scoots off. This is good play so far from the hard breach. This is an all too familiar place. Oh, PZD will thread that needle as Moringa picks up two of his own. But Gabrielos will come on out of his shell, looking for a kill as he's got FK1 there too, but FK1 goes down. 3 kills from the Maverick. Won't get any more as Gabrielos pops out of those jail cell doors, those vault doors. He takes out Moringa, but he's pinned down and under heavy fire as it's yet another successful plant for Black Dragons. Gabrielos doing a bit of damage. He'll actually get the down on the Hugzord. PZD is very low as well, but GDN will be nowhere in sight. Doesn't take much HP to get a kill. even one, you're still upright, you can frag well, and that's what PZD will do. Obscured just by this, you call it a cart?
Metal shelf cart.
Something along those lines. Black Dragons clean up in the very end point of that round. What a shot from PZD all the way to the Maestro. That's a very common spot for the Maestro to play inside of Garage. Watching through those two destructible walls, having an angle with the ACOG, it's very advantageous for the defense to play. You can see Echoes play there, possibly even Docs as well.
And that's on the Maestro. I believe it was Revolts in that round. That's on him for getting picked there because he just wasn't staying on the angle. If you set yourself up, the reason that angle is so popular is that if you set yourself up on the angle preemptively, it's very difficult for an attacker to challenge you there. Why? Because as you said, it's threading the needle through the bars, through two walls on a very, very long angle. That's why that angle is so popular, because it denies default plant, and there's not very much that the attackers could do about it. We've seen teams even bringing Blackbeard specifically to counter it. But PZD made it work without all of that. And why? Again, because the defender was not holding the angle. He just needed to be on it, waiting patiently for a target, for his prey to walk into his crosshairs, but not the case. Moving on from that, though, paiN are going to try and defend the basement once more. Looks like GCR might be going for a run out, or maybe just trying to hunt drones. So he was just trying to maybe get a drone or two. Drone economy is, of course, very important, especially if you're going to be trying to hold server. Deny a lot of information if you're able to get one or two drones in the prep phase. Especially, again, even more so if you've got a mute. It's going to really add to the lack of information that the defenders will have. Or rather, attackers, pardon me. Yeah, Mozzie's not in Pro League yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. He's coming.
3 more months. We should have him at the end of Milan, but that's all speculation on our part.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, after Milan is done, it's been 3 months, right?
Right. I think
somewhere in that. Oh yeah. I mean, it's not our call.
Right. We don't actually know. That's not a fact.
But
we'll find out.
He alongside Gridlock are both in a position where they are under review. They're in a review process. So we will see.
Operators.
That is correct. And then the operators that come after as well will be in a similar state. So
yes.
Black Dragons have spent a minute just being able to clear out the top of the site, or at the top of Bank, rather, as we look towards the site now with just the last Valkyrie camera going up. paiN have not had to really worry about any pressure going their way, and there isn't a Maverick, at least for the time being, who has decided to pierce any of the hatches.
It's been a slow round from Black Dragons. I'm guessing they were expecting some roamers.
Very slow.
Yeah, but they've spent half the round now.
Interestingly, a change of pace for Black Dragons is they're going to put Moringa inside of the elevator, and this might actually be a vault drop, or at least a push over towards the vault side of things.
Is he trying to hot drop this?
I don't think so, no.
It doesn't.
I think he was just getting the corner of it.
Okay, well, it's open now. I'm curious if any of the defenders are actually aware of this, because it's possible that it's gone, unnoticed. It looks like it has been unnoticed. I don't think any of the defenders heard or saw that drop be opened up. They might be able to gather this information later on. It doesn't look like Black Dragons are going to capitalize at all, though.
The only person who's over in that area is GCR. That's the mute playing at the bottom of the stairs. He's got a shotgun in hand. Possibly put anybody in an early grave if they push on up too much. GCR can hear that there's somebody nearby. Doesn't know who it is. It's a Jackal playing on the stairs. We know that. There's going to be a drone that will give away the mute's position and immediately get very aggressive. But every single party involved in that fight will miss their shots. GCR will still persist, completely undeterred from the fact that there might be somebody above. He's going to get hit with a concussive mine and he'll have to fall off. He's just a little disoriented for the time being. This is a lot of time that is being wasted right now. A late rotate from the Maverick of Moringa. Down goes PZD, and it's a beautiful answer from paiN as they knew where everybody was coming from. Amidst the smoke is GDN, breathing those toxic fumes in, and he's going to get down and finished off. Black Dragon somehow just comes in and takes everybody down. Panico 2 kills. FK will retreat, but he gets shut down. Another from Panico. It's all up to spawns. No diffuser in hand for Black Dragons. They pick it up. They will need to go for a plant. Where will spawns be? He's got the timer working against him now. He sees him. Downs Panico. It's going to be a 1v1. He'll finish him off. Spawns a perfect opportunity to clutch it. Pulls out the Deagle. Lands one shot on the Hugzord as the Thatcher will retreat. And it'll be a game of cat and mouse around these door frames. Lots of patience here, as Spawns has no clue where Hugzord is. Trying to bait out his position. Hugzord will take the bait, pushes on up. His position will be given away. He's got a reinforced wall. Big clutch. Black Dragon salvage a round that went in their favor. The pendulum swung back and forth and back and forth. And eventually, it'll land on Black Dragons. So close for Spawns to be able to keep that one for his team. And what a performance and an effort, falling just short.
Wow. What a back and forth round. And honestly, a round that you just couldn't have predicted the way that that ended up playing out. Black Dragons attacking from an extreme off angle, coming from the elevator drop down. You just don't see that very often. You could tell that paiN weren't expecting it. They adjusted extremely late. The lifeline play, by the way, from Zofia on the main stairs, they knew that the smoke was the only one in a position to hear the drop in elevator. They used Zofia's lifeline to cover that drop. Beautiful play from Black Dragons. Following that, they just continued to pile on to the B-bomb site, rush into lockers. Yet it came down to the wire. And why? Poor time management from Black Dragons. They wanted to be sure, though, that there were no roamers from paiN Gaming that would have been able to detect that, yes, indeed, it is, in fact, a take from the teller and elevator drop, rather than a server take as per norm. I like that caution from Black Dragons, but it ended up coming very close to costing them a round. So maybe not the best decision in that situation. I think most of the time when we see a elevator and tellers drop take on this site, it's a bit more of a rush, not necessarily a straight up rush, but a faster paced round. Not the case here. Anyway, that's the last round of the first half, and we move on.
It's very weird pacing on that round.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Panica, who just walks in, picks up 3 kills because nobody knows where he is, and we don't really, I think, understand where he came from in that position. Odd. Very odd.
Indeed. Now, paiN are going to have to attack on the bottom floor first round. They have brought both of the hard destructors. They have brought a Ying, which will remain unbanned in this match. And GCR is going to eat some early damage there from Moringa. Typical Jackal to clear out the roamers. Buck is going to be useful here, but mostly for his grenades on a bottom floor attack.
Yeah.
He can do things like disable red challenge for the C4s for just ever so slight a time. I think that a Thatcher would have been necessary for that to happen, though, of course, given that the Jaeger is in play.
Especially the way that Moringa is playing this, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be able to just tackle really any channel that or challenge that comes his way, evades the flash, and hits the deck, knowing that there might be a follow-up, which there isn't for the time being. He's still got his shotgun trained to the door, so there's going to be some pellets that greet anybody who decides to go on in that direction. That's a 4th flashbang that goes in, and the only thing so far that they've managed to do, other than drain the ADS, is blind Moringa for just a second or so.
They've opened up the drop down, which is going to cut off Moringa's rotation. They know he's here. He knows he's trapped. They know he's trapped. He just has to fight it out with a shotgun, and he's going to get 1. Doesn't see the second. A little bit of a late reaction there, and Moringa will go down. Good refrag from Gabriels, but he was just handed that on a silver platter.
He had a really great opportunity to be able to take that kill, right? And he just couldn't get it. As you'll hear all the Candelas go away, just blind everybody out. This is going to be a close contest for Revolts, as he's got the shotgun in hand, so you're imagining that your Ying is probably going to go for the drop and just jump right into Vault, and then jump right on over to Gold as well.
FK has opened up 1 of the drop downs, though not 2, and Gabriels looks to want to try and open up default rather than going for those drops, which makes sense since Thermite is banned. You really need to use Hibana on that spot. But he's got a mute jammer, it seems, in his way, and he has yet to shoot it. You could see FK is trying to shoot it, but he should know you cannot do that. Someone has to take care of the mute jammer, or paiN is going to run out of time. Oh.
Not quite, not yet.
Okay.
You're going to have to drop at this point.
They got it.
They did, and they're going to have to drop at this point, right? That's what
Yeah.
the Ying is for. You've got Revolts just over top. He's waiting for the call. He's only got 1 Candela left, though, in only 10 seconds. This is a very typical Jackal drop. You see the smoke go down, and Revolts is just waiting for the call. There he goes. Plant going down from Gabrielos. He's in, but Gabrielos will get stopped. Hugsword is there for 2 big kills. Timer's going to run out, and it doesn't matter. Black Dragons will hang on. A very weak and limp-wristed attack from paiN Gaming there.
You should note that the Candela was caught by an ADS in Red Hole. Neither of the smokes were caught because they landed in the site, in security, but that Candela went all the way deep in red. Apart from that, paiN got tripped up on a mute jammer for like 20, 25 seconds. They had one person coming from server on a server take. One. No one to cover. That one was also the person who had to open up default plant spot. It was the Habana. He didn't peek the doorway to get the mute jammer until, again, 25 seconds had passed, and then he was, yes, eventually the one to peek the door to shoot the mute jammer. All right, we're going to tellers. Black Dragons are in a really great spot right now. They've been winning round after round, just placed on some pretty standard play. Taylor's a site that we haven't been seeing a lot of. This is the second overall defense of this site. The first came in the 4th round of the first half by paiN. They were unsuccessful and lost too many roamers on the top floor. Following that, their anchors just were not able to duke it out with the remaining Black Dragons attackers. It was a while ago, though, and this is going to be the first attempt from VD. This is also, interestingly, their second site played, where most teams would go to CEO. It's likely they're trying to trip up paiN in this round, and might accomplish that, but Buck has been brought, so I think it's unlikely that paiN are going to be very confused here. Moringa, now, see, what he's doing here is challenging top floor, right? But he's also challenging top of garage. Usually you won't see defenders do this, but I think Moringa, in this moment, pretty confident in himself.
It's been a standout performance for Moringa so far this game as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't really matter what role he's been playing. I mean, he's been putting himself in more frag-oriented roles, which is something that we actually saw from him on FaZe. Whenever Smoke would get banned, they'd throw him on the Jaeger, which is a lot of times Astro's role. And Moringa still can carry the weight quite a bit.
There's confidence here from Moringa. It might cost him his life, to be honest. He's getting droned out. He's being spotted. FK is a heck of a shot.
Might be hubris.
I mean, they're up 5-2. They're in a good spot.
And take that chance. And I mean, he's going to have an MP5 with an ACOG on it, staring down an F2 with an ACOG as well. So those are going to be two pretty respectable guns that will square off at one another. All the while, paiN have just walked right in and are very close to being able to pressure the site. Now that double doors of conference, you've got the Zofia of spawns. Possibly might have some utility in hand. He's not far off from PZD, who, if the Valkyrie gets a call, can possibly emerge from the closet, be able to eliminate somebody on the other side of it.
Big presence top floor here. Spawns is going to finally take down Panico. It took him a while, but he eventually did get the kill. Cost him 50 HP, though.
Where is PZD? Where was PZD to possibly refrag that? There he is, but he manages to shut down revolts. Black Dragons have just come alive after what looked to be a massive lost opportunity, and man, paiN are falling apart at the seams.
Yep.
A 4v1 for Black Dragons right now with FK1 just left at the main door. What is he going to be able to accomplish?
FK1 in a clutch situation, 1 versus 4, and he's got a minute left to go. He's going to be pushing in the main lobby, sees his first target, and can't land a single shot. Hugzord shuts him down. Black Dragons win 6 rounds, and we go to 6-2 total. Oh, correction, he did land 1, I believe.
He did.
So.
But what do you do at that point, right? You just kind of have to push on in and...
Yeah, you don't really have a choice.
Hope for the best. Hope for the best.
He was challenged from an angle he wasn't looking at. Nothing he can really do about that. No info being gathered by his team. You know, you can't put that on his shoulders. That's not FK's fault. The attack there from paiN, really lackluster. Heavy emphasis placed on the top floor from Black Dragons. They were just trying to deny vertical play, right? And that's pretty typical of a Teller's defense. But paiN couldn't get past the roamers. They really struggled with taking out each and every one of them. There was a serious lack of coordination. For example, FK, went on rappel on the main lobby, had an opportunity to shoot an enemy through a wall. Thanks to the mark, but did not seize upon it.
I mean, we're also overlooking the fact that the Zofia of spawns was able to get as close and just immediately attack the Maestro with nobody there. And then PZD was inside of that janitor closet. Really should have been in a position to refrag. Likely dropped through the hatch and then had rotated at that point. That's probably why he wasn't able to come to his defense.
I mean, I'm not the one sitting here. I'm not going to sit here and say that Black Dragons isn't making mistakes. They seriously did. I mean, the Zofia took out the Evil Eye in the hallway. You have to know that Zofia is going to push down your hallway and come up on your meeting hall entrance. That's exactly what happened. But it's the fact that Black Dragons are making these mistakes, and then paiN seize upon the opportunity, get the kill, have meeting hall control, and then can't clear out the rest of the roamers on the top floor. Why? And this is despite having, for example, a Jackal in play. And what's happening with the Jackal? I don't think I saw a mark. Maybe I just missed it, but it didn't seem like Jekyll was using his ability. If he was, it wasn't to great effect. Black Dragons going to CEO now for their 3rd defense. They've won every single defensive round thus far, and it will be a full circle if they win this one, or a full cycle, I think is what we're calling it. Yep. And on top of that, the match in VD's hands.
It looked like 4 members of paiN had spawned over by the alleyway, which will leave 1 body to spawn by the front, which will be GCR. And he's just watching. All those windows are open, so there's possible run-out potential, jump-out potential, rather, as you would vault through that window. And
you know, for the longest time, the reason people didn't do that is they thought that you would get down from that height.
You really should.
I think it's a really far drop.
Like, if you're a real human and you're jumping from that height, you're probably breaking something.
Legs are broken. Yeah, or your arms, if you fall on those, whatever. But yeah, there's no, it's a, people just assumed way back that you just couldn't vault north windows as a defender, and that's why nobody did it.
But now people do, and it's very likely that it's a suicide run. You're not able to get back in alive most of the time, so. Things going according to plan for paiN on the backside of CEO as we look towards the 2nd floor site. We've seen no open area in this contest between these 2 teams, and what we said was not a must-win for paiN Gaming, but pretty close to, given their schedule for the remainder of the 4 play days here, and with paiN likely wanting to avoid one of those 2 relegation spots. They're going to find themselves in a deeper hole, as GDN guns down GCR and you lose the buck early. Smoke has taken some damage in the contest, but he's still in a good position.
He's just waiting. Moringa knows he has to wait, but he's just going to...
A bit too early, pulls the trigger. Not enough discipline there. PZD doesn't know that there's a body beneath him. He'll give himself away, and the Valkyrie can now begin to engage, as it looks like you have Spawns going in completely blind down below.
Spawns needs someone to drone for him, but he's gone now. Opportunity missed. FK1's going to lose a lot of HP just peeking into storage, and he'll be just a breath away from death. And now, paiN on match point are going to lose 1 to Moringa from behind. PZD just decides to start rushing box, and it's all up to FK1. Can he do it? He gets 1 potentially impactless frag. Goes for a 2nd. He's just being played with. GDN shuts him down, and Black Dragons will win the match 7-2.
Not a good showing from paiN. You could obviously see the frustration in the way that they were playing there at the end. It really looked like they were panicking. Spawns was coming in on his lonesome, you know, really nobody nearby.
This again.
I actually prefer it.
I like it.
I actually like it.
It's
I
so
actually
much
like
better.
it. I like it much better.
It's so nice.
Yeah, I like that perspective.
Can we get that permanently, please?
Please.
Ubisoft. So, 7-2?
Black Dragons so much improved by adding PZD and Moringa to this roster.
Agreed.
A massive step forward for this Black Dragons roster, picking up 3 very big points. They'll go up to 14 in this race for one of those playoff spots will tighten. Keep in mind that the playoff spot sits at 19, and it'll be 14 points for Black Dragons. Now, mind you, there's not a lot of points left. There's only going to be 12 left on the board, which means that for Black Dragons, their ceiling is going to be at 26. That's only 7 points ahead of where Liquid is right now. So the math is theoretically there, but the path for Black Dragons is going to get tough.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's important to note that while paiN did lose this 7-2, Black Dragons managed to get the win. I don't feel like it was a perfect match from BD. And, you know, they made a lot of mistakes in that match. And why did they get away with it? Because paiN were making far more.
Yeah. Their opponent didn't really lend that much to them in terms of the way that they played. And it's really hard to look at this and actually gauge how strong Black Dragons is coming out of this. Because a lot of those rounds look like the team of Black Dragons that took Team Liquid to the 12th and final round. That came within a round or 2 away from actually stealing that victory away from Liquid that I think a lot of people assumed Liquid was going to prevail in. In this game in particular, there was a lot of mistakes on both sides. And I think there is something that can be said about Black Dragons maybe being more structured, but paiN doing a lot of really unpredictable stuff. And because of that, Black Dragons didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, Black Dragons by far and away more structured than paiN. Honestly, it felt sometimes like paiN were just 5 people happening to play a match together.
Yeah.
That's how it looked.
It really looked like on defense, paiN was a lot better. There were a couple rounds downstairs where it looked like the calls were going their way, the information was going their way. You think back to when Panico just ran in and got, 3 big kills. That came kind of out of nowhere. That probably should have been the round for paiN. And it was just little differences that paiN could have done, and this game could have been completely different. But then on attack, they just looked completely lost. And that's where it really comes down to it. Black Dragons smothered paiN Gaming on defense, and that is really the tale here, because there was still 3 more rounds of defense.
Yeah.
paiN could have racked those numbers up on their defense, but when they came to attack, they were probably going to lose ground anyway.
And several defensive rounds that paiN could have won, but just didn't. Like that first one, for example, seemed like they had it. They couldn't land the utility, and that's the full story.
They really need to work and focus on being able to drone each other in and then capitalizing off of that, because they were at the gates every single time, and they could see the enemy, but they couldn't really scale them and get to them. So that's the story. And as paiN moves on, they're going to look to try and avoid getting auto-relegated. Right now, they're still in 7th place, but they could fall down to 8th, because our next matchup is going to be Ints versus Red Devils. If Ints prevails here, then paiN falls down to 8th. Both paiN and Ints are the 2 teams most vulnerable right now. Red Devils haven't looked the same since having to make that roster change just a couple weeks ago. What's going to happen in our very final matchup of the day? We'll find out in just a couple minutes.